Hello and welcome. My name is Cindy Goodner, and welcome to the Community Seed Network, connecting and supporting community seed initiatives. Um, I'm excited to welcome, I'm the development director at Seed Savers Exchange, and I'll be your host for this session. Um, Also, I wanted to take time to thank our generous sponsor, Jonga, for sponsoring this session. In Korean tradition, recipes are passed down from generation to generation, and this strong tradition is called Janga. Located globally throughout China, Japan, Russia, Europe, Indonesia, Vietnam, Myanmar, Thailand, and the Philippines, Janga is now spreading the love of Korean food across the United States from its headquarters in California and New Jersey. I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker today, Steph Hughes. Steph Hughes is from a Canadian organization called SeedChange, and Steph is the program manager with the Bauta Family Initiative on Canadian seed security and the co-chair of the Community Seed Network. The Community Seed Network connects and supports community seed initiatives by providing resources, information, and a platform for networking for seed savers and community seed projects. Over 3,000 members participate across the United States and Canada. The Community Seed Network is a partnership program between Seed Savers Exchange and SeedChange. If you have a seed-related passion project, a special variety you steward, or if you're part of an initiative to share and educate about seed, check out the Community Seed Network. And today, Steph Hughes is here to tell us more about this online platform, social media group, and seed exchange community. Steph, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for that lovely introduction. Yeah, that's great. So I do work alongside the Seed Savers Exchange's Janine Schiffert as co-chairs of the Community Seed Network. And so for the last 5 years, I've helped develop and coordinate the Community Seed Network. I'm going to refer to it as the CSN. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about this project, to give you an overview of what the CSN is and what it has to offer, and hopefully connect you with some resources that may help advance your own CD projects. So the CSN was launched in 2018 as a web platform with the goal of connecting and supporting folks who are passionate about seeds and seed saving and who are operating at least in part in the non-commercial seed sector. We've observed, over the last decade, a really steady growth of activity, including community seed projects like seed libraries, seed banks, seed saving gardens, seed education programs, seed swapping and exchange events. And they seem sort of drastically under-resourced, often powered by the creativity and commitment and passion of volunteers. So we wanted to create the CSN as a place for those initiatives and those passionate seed savers to connect, share, and learn with each other. So the CSN is a joint initiative between Seed Savers Exchange in the United States and SeedChange, the organization that I work for in Canada. And we operate kind of across Canada and the US. And as you'll see on our next slide, we have some members internationally as well. So we wanted an online place, an online platform where seed savers and seed organizers could find each other, place together useful seed resources so that organizers could access lots of wisdom, tools, and ideas all in one place, and benefit from the work of those that came before them. And then finally, of course, we needed a place to share not only fabulous ideas, but also seeds. So the platform is linked to the Seed Savers Exchange Seed Exchange for the free and ample sharing of seed. I believe there's a presentation coming up tomorrow about the Seed Exchange, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today. Instead, we're going to have a look at other facets of this platform. I'm going to just use some very basic slides with screenshots of the site because I trusted that more than doing a live demo. And unfortunately, some of our site components are not fully functioning right now, which is a total bummer, but we will persevere. So let's look first at our Connect, our map and directory. So this is where you can find people and where you can help people find you by listing yourself as a member with the CSN. Well, again, this is the component of the site mainly that's down at the moment, and so we're working on those fixes. If you go there now, you will just see an eternally spinning like wheel of buffering. But as you can see from the screenshot, we have about 1,200 members in the USA and Canada, another 100 or so globally, and we're really proud to offer web services in English, French, and Spanish, and hope to continue to expand our Spanish offerings over time. So with this map, you can either browse or search. So if you're browsing, you can see all those little red, yellow, and blue dots. All of those represent dozens or hundreds of members. And as you click and zoom into your area of interest, you're going to see kind of those dots bust open into smaller clusters. And you're going to see with greater accuracy where projects and people are located. So if you sign up as an individual, your address would be typically scrambled within your postcode or your zip code. But if you sign up as an organization and you want people to know your exact location, that's also possible. So lots of seed nonprofits will do that, where their exact address is on there. Lots of individuals are scrambled for privacy. So if you are searching, so that's kind of if you want to browse around. Pardon some background noise, I'm not in an ideal location here. But if you're searching, then you can filter for mentors, for education initiatives, seed libraries and banks, gardens, and other types of seed involvements, which means when you sign up, you can indicate with some accuracy what your interest in seed is so that you can connect with the right people who have similar interests to you. You can also specify your preferred contact methods, share your website, share your socials, all that sort of thing. So the map and directory, when they are functioning, are really fantastic tools to get a sense of what's happening in your community, and also to get a sense of what kinds of projects like yours might be happening outside of your community in the wider country and all across the continent. Let's talk about sharing. So connect, share, and learn. Sharing is about sharing seeds and also sharing ideas. So I hope that you'll tune in tomorrow for the presentation on the seed exchange. That's how the CSN enables members to swap seeds, and it's a really powerful program. In terms of sharing ideas, we really want to extend the map and database into the world of social media, where members can have, dynamic and interesting conversations about seeds. So we've chosen, rather than reinvent the wheel, we chose a Facebook group to do that, so that conversations about seeds could really flourish. Our group has over 1,500 members, a little bit more than what's on our map. And this is where a lot of our discussion happens, where seed-related events, webinars, podcast episodes, seed swaps, and resources all get posted to the group. So it's a great space to access a lot of knowledgeable and passionate people, and also to ask your seed questions that you might, like sometimes it's hard to just put something into Google and get a reliable answer about seeds. But the Facebook group is just so many people who care about seeds in one place. So for example, a couple of years ago, I had a question. I was asked by a friend and seed grower to help identify some mystery beans that she found in the seed collection of her recently deceased dear friend. She wanted to honor his legacy by growing out his vast seed collection, which was poorly labeled, and adopt some of those better performing varieties into her catalog to share them, for years to come, and sort of honor his memory, which is just this variety of bean did very well for her, and she wanted to do just that with it, but neither of us had any idea what it was and had asked around, and our contacts didn't really know either. Some of you might actually know by looking at it. The answer to this variety's identity is in the black markings on the bean center. So if you know what you're looking for, apparently it clearly looks like a little tiny soldier on that bean, a little black soldier on a white bean. If you don't know this already, in my opinion, I might have guessed like a nutcracker or just some random lines or a little alien, but the person who named this bean clearly thought it was a soldier bean, and so that is the name of the variety. So we were able to verify this once we had the name, and the whole thing took a couple of hours, and it was really fun to hear people talk about this and to engage in conversation with them on social media. So please do check us out. That's where you can find us. Membership is not strictly necessary, but we do love it when our online members match our social media members. So join us online and hopefully join the conversation with us there. We're talking about connect, share, and learn. So we're going to move on now and talk a little bit about the learn component of our site. This is probably my favorite part of the site because it really just gathers and displays so much seed knowledge that is relevant to the non-commercial seed sector and just makes it freely available. So we opted to divide our resources basically into two categories: resources for seed savers and resources for seed projects. On the seed saving front, you're going to find resources divided up for beginners as well as those with more experience. These include general resources on seed and flower anatomy, charts for seed saving isolation distance, minimum population, longevity and storage, all of that good stuff, as well as crop specific guides developed by Seed Savers Exchange that give you the basic, most reliable info about dozens of different crop types and how to save their seeds. If you have a little bit more experience, you will find perhaps useful the resources on germination testing, seed saving from biennials, as well as more advanced crop guides, hand pollination, among other things. Um, on the organizational resources front, you will find so many fantastic resources contributed from a diversity of groups who have a really long history in the seed movements in the US and Canada. So many different types of projects are covered, from seed banks and libraries to seed saving community gardens, seed exchanges and seed swap events. And there's a diversity of resources there for each, including how-to guides that cover the upstart stages. So that if you're thinking of starting something in your community, you don't need to reinvent the wheel when starting your project. You can kind of come here and see some best practices, see how it's done. You can also head onto the map and look if something like that in your area already exists, how to connect with them. Or if there's nothing, then you get that validation that, yeah, this is a really necessary sort of project in my community. And then, of course, the social media page, again, allows you to kind of network, ask your follow-up questions, get people's suggestions for, how you problem solve the various things that come up when you're starting a seed project. The resources are all free from the site unless otherwise listed. So like we do have some links to books that you have to pay for from the publishers, but otherwise they're free as long as they're used for non-commercial purposes. And they're credited to the creators who are, Seed Savers Exchange, SeedChange, the Bauta Family Initiative, the Organic Seed Alliance, Native Seed Search, and other, really well-established organizations like that. And so because they're all credited, if you want more information of that sort, you can easily track down the authoring organizations and go find out more from them and about them. So I wanted to just finish off this section by spotlighting a couple of favorite resources that I have from the site. There's a lot on the site, and so it's easy to kind of not get all the way through it your first or second try. So the first thing I'll spotlight are the how-to guides from Seed Matters, what's now I think known as the Cliff Bar Family Foundation. I love them because they are really digestible, they are well written, colorful, full of creative ideas, and they make the task of getting started with a seed project seem a little bit less daunting. So they're really just chock full of best practices, and they're easily downloadable and printable PDFs, and you can kind of go through and take what you need. So they're a fantastic resource. They cover seed swaps, seed gardens, seed banks, and I believe they have one for seed libraries as well. Another one that I will tell you about, which often don't get their due because people don't typically understand what they're for, are our crop descriptor forms. So these were developed by Seeds of Diversity Canada, which is kind of like our equivalent to the Seed Savers Exchange. And they're fantastic tools for a variety of purposes. They are basically fillable data gathering forms. They range from kind of 3 pages to 8 pages for different crop types. And so they give you space to record observations of a plant from its seed germination through to its kind of harvest weight. You can observe and record details about the time of seed emergence, of flowering, the size and color of its foliage, the length of its stem, its growth habit, the number and color of its petals, the number of seeds per pod, the fruits per plant, the weight per fruit, and more. And you might be asking, like, why on earth would I do all that work? And maybe you wouldn't, but maybe you would, because maybe you're a seed saver who wants to improve your observational skills. So observation is a really key skill for any seed saver because you've got to kind of rogue out your off types. You've got to observe and pay attention to your your crops kind of over a longer time period in order to get them all the way through to seed production. And so this is a fantastic way of requiring yourself to spend a lot of time with the crop you've chosen to grow out and really get to know it. If you, like my friend, have a mystery seed and you want to record data on it in order to solve what variety it is, this is a really good way to do that because you are recording every detail about that plant. You'll have a solid description to take around to various sources and see what it matches. You may have two lots of seeds that you want to do a side-by-side grow out on to compare them and determine, if they are the same or what their differences are. So this is a really good tool for that. And if you do kind of education of aspiring seed savers, this could be a good tool to distribute to them for all of those reasons, because it really demands that you pay attention. And so if it's something that you're interested in doing really well, these tools are, like, in my opinion, an unparalleled way to really get to know your plants for seed savers. My next resource is our Sow and Save lesson plan. So these were developed years ago by SeedChange. Back then we were called USC Canada. And it's a whole bundle. So I've just put 3 on there, and obviously you can't read that, but there's about a dozen in the bundle. And they are teacher resources specifically to teach youth, elementary students and junior high students about seeds. So, over time, the back lot kind of school garden has become a thing. Growing food and learning about growing food is getting more and more integrated into school curriculums, which is wonderful. All that food comes from seeds. And so the Sow and Save lesson plans are really a way for to extend that education to kids. So there are tools that teach about seed diversity, about growing techniques, about germination, and they use math, art, design, and other core skills to do it. So if you're engaged in seed education for youth, and this is really a resource that you should check out, and it could be a great addition to your toolbox. And then finally, the last one I'll go over is the Micro Seed Banking Primer. So this one was also authored by Seeds of Diversity Canada. And the one that I highlighted previously was like, how do you start a community seed bank or a community seed library? And it was really digestible, very good tips for getting started. The Micro Seed Banking Primer is going to be the ultimate follow-up tool. It's a fairly dense document. It's maybe 15 or 20 pages. And it goes through every possible consideration for kind of what happens next. It takes you through the technical aspects of how to keep the seeds in a way that they will maximize their longevity in your collection, and it also takes you through considerations like what kind of diversity do you need, what sample size do you need, for whom are you keeping seed, is it open public access, or are you doing a little bit of gatekeeping, are the seeds extremely rare, or is it just about kind of getting them out into the hands of gardeners. So it really takes you through some of the more nuanced considerations for starting a community seed bank. And so these are a handful of the resources in the Learn section of the Community Seed Network website that I thought were worth highlighting. There's dozens more. The website is chock full of information. And it's a really nice place to go to get information that has been vetted a little bit, because if you're a new seed saver or any kind of seed saver really, and you just pop something into Google because you want an answer, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of answers from blogs and articles, and some of it is old and some of it is new and some of it is relevant and some of it isn't. This is a place where you can go to get really reliable information all in one place, and then it kind of powers you from there. Once you're armed with that, then you can go and you can look in other places and kind of know what you're reading and be better equipped to sort of figure out the information that you want. So obviously I'm a co-chair. I think it's a fabulous resource. I hope that you will take a few moments and check out the site as well. And, check back in a couple of weeks when perhaps the map is working and you will be able to join us as a member, because we love to see new members getting on that map. It's the kind of tool that works better the more people who use it. So I think that's all I have for today. I'm happy to take a couple of questions if there are any, and I just would say thank you so much again for having me.
Steph, thank you so much. That was super informative, and I learned so much about the Community Seed Network. For attendees viewing in, if you have questions, go ahead and pop those into the chat. In the meantime, I'll get started with a few questions. Steph, what resources are in highest demand through the Community Seed Network? And, like, what's most popular?
That's a great question. So the Community Seed Network, way back in its kind of initiation history, it was conceptualized by a group of seed librarians in the United States, and I would say that that's still one of the most popular types of seed projects to start. And one of the things that I always get the most questions about is about a seed library. How do we get seeds in? How do we get seeds back out to people? And of course, anyone who's doing seed library work also wants to do a component of education as well. They're passionate about getting seeds into the hands of the public, and then also telling the, gardeners and the public what to do with those seeds to save them well. So I would say that continues to be an area of high interest for us.
Great. And with seed libraries and community seed groups, what do those organizations or, grassroots groups, what what are the things that they most need to get started?
Well, I think, there's so many questions at the start of a project like that I think being connected with folks who have done it before, who can tell you kind of what works and what doesn't, who can narrow your list of questions and give you a little bit more detail in terms of what you need to look out for is really, really helpful.
And
So,
finally,
oh,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. Did my Wi-Fi cut out there for a sec?
It did.
Anyway,
It did. Go on.
um, no, that's fine. I totally forget what I was going to say anyway.
You mentioned that the website is the map function is getting fixed right now. Is it possible for folks to join the Facebook group in the meantime?
Yes, it is, and I'd encourage you to do that. Yeah, because if you're on the Facebook group, we can also post when those updates have been made, and in the meantime, you still get access to the community, which I think is really important.
Okay, great. So our Seed Savers Exchange chat monitor has put links to both the Community Seed Network website and the Facebook group in the chat. So go ahead, you can join now. And Steph, I just wanted to say thank you again. Thanks for all the good work that you're doing. And this has been just a beautiful collaborative project between Seed Savers Exchange and SeedChange for many years now. So thanks for all the good work you do.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a joy to be able to talk about it, and yeah, hopefully folks will be interested in joining us, and I'll see you on social media.
Okay, that sounds
Okay,
great.
thank you.
So we are going to take a little break, and our next keynote session will be at 1 p.m. So we'll see you all there.